If you have a toddler or a preschooler or a TK kindergartner, even first or second grader, and you are thinking about homeschooling, or you've already decided that you want to homeschool, and you've got those two questions, because I get them all the time at homeschool conventions. How do I get started? And what curriculum should I use? Or how should I do this with a toddler or with a preschooler or a kindergartner or even a first or second grader? This video, this tutorial is for you. Okay, so what I have done is I have created a packet called, or an ebook called, You're Already Homeschooling. So that answers your first question. How do I get started? Mamas, you've already started. You From the moment they were born, you have been their first teacher, their most important teacher, their favorite teacher. You have already been homeschooling. So you've taught them how to walk, you've taught them how to talk, you've taught them how to communicate, how to love, how to potty train. You're teaching them your values. You've already taught them all of the important stuff. So now what you're going to do when they're in pre-K or TK or kindergarten, first to second grade, you're just going to keep on doing what you've been doing because you're fabulous at it, right? But now you're just going to be a little bit more intentional about it. Okay. Now, you don't really, here's the answer to the second question. You don't really need a formal curriculum for TK, kindergarten, first, even dare I say second grade. Okay. Actually, early childhood education, which is what you've already been doing, right? Keep that in mind. It should be play-based because that is how kids learn best. That is how they were created. Play is the work of childhood, said Jean Piaget, right? Okay. So it should be full of, just like it has been already, imaginative play, free play, unstructured play, playing with their siblings, playing with you, playing with their pets, maybe playing with a couple of special friends. And then when they are ready for the quote unquote academics, it's still very play based. Early childhood education should still be very much literature rich, literature based, right? I know you're already reading to your kids at bedtime and story time, and you're bringing them to the library and they're sitting on your lap or they're rolling around on the floor while you're reading aloud to them. They're in their tub, you're reading to them. They're in bed, you're reading to them. They're underneath the tree, you're reading to them. You're just going to keep doing that. You're going to keep it very literature based, literature rich, right? Except now you're just going to be more intentional about it. So you're going to read books for fun, but now when they're showing signs of reading readiness or computation readiness, because that's different than counting, right? Or they're showing interest in bugs or magnetism or clouds or whatever, or it's seasons, right? It's now fall or it's now winter or it's now Thanksgiving time, right? You're going to read books to them that go along with those skills, those concepts, those seasons, those things that they're interested in, the things that you want them to learn about, or the things that they're naturally learning about, but you want to extend their knowledge. So it should be very literature based. The majority of your day with them once you officially start homeschooling, whether it's TK or pre-K or kindergarten, first, second grade, is going to be play, 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 and read aloud, read aloud, read aloud. Early childhood education should also be very much nature rich, full of outdoor activities, full of movement inside and outside, right? I mean, let's face it, one of the main reasons you probably decided to homeschool in the first place was because you didn't want them cooped up in a classroom all day with fluorescent lights, unnatural lighting, right? You didn't want them sitting still because let's face it, they can't sit still, right? You wanted them to have the opportunity to run and to play and to be outside in nature with natural sunlight and the grass underneath their feet and playing in the dirt and things like that, right? Okay, so early childhood education should still have a lot of opportunities for outdoor play, and a lot of that includes movement because when they move, that's how they interact with their environment. That's how they're learning. Oftentimes, when you're doing more intentional little lessons, like maybe you're going to do a 10-minute ABC lesson with them, let them move, do it outside. Oftentimes, it helps with their attention anyway. All right. And research tells us that when kids, people, adults move before they learn something, it actually activates different neurons and hormones, serotonin and things like that in the brain that allows them to learn better and quicker and to remember the information longer. Okay, so early childhood education should be full of movement as well. It should also be child directed. It should be at a child's pace, right? Um, there's a term out there. It's called delayed academics, which is John Holt, Dr. Raymond Moore, Scandinavian countries. They realize, according to the science, that a child's eyesight is not physically ready for close-up work. You could actually do more damage if you start to do focused, long term, like sitting for a long amount of time, staring at a book, trying to learn to read when their eyes and they're physically not ready for it. So delaying that to 8 years old, 9 years old, when they're actually physically ready and their eyes won't be strained and harmed in the process, right? Also, handwriting. Yes, can they start to write when they're 6 and 7 years old? They can, but actually their bones don't start to solidify and ossify until they're 8, 9 years old. So when they complain that their hands hurt, they really do. So it's really okay to delay the formal, precise writing where you're sitting for, more than 20 minutes at a time doing those kinds of things. Okay. So you want it to be child-led. You want it to either be delayed academics or in some cases self-timed academics. And what that means is that there are some kids at age 5 or 6 years old who are ready to learn to read, who are ready to write. Their hands don't hurt, their eyes are doing okay. They're showing a readiness for these things. Well, then you go ahead and you start. But if they're not showing signs, it's really better to delay those things when they're actually academically, mentally, emotionally, and physically ready for them. Okay. It should also be early childhood education. It should be full of real work, um, opportunities with purpose because kids learn not only through play but through imitation. So bringing your kids along for these real world experiences when you go to run errands, when you go to the store, when you're cooking, when you're folding clothes, all of those kinds of when you're feeding the chickens or the pets. You're bringing the kids along because they are engaging in purposeful work, things that they can do at their age that are age appropriate. That is a powerful part of early childhood education. So it's not just the imaginative play where they're pretending to cook with maybe in a mud kitchen, but they're also really helping you cook or washing the vegetables or the lettuce, tearing the lettuce for a salad. Okay, you're getting them involved in that. So all of these things should be the cornerstone, the foundation of an early childhood education. And I know you as a mom, this should sound very familiar because you've already been doing this, all right? Which is why my little ebook and my pamphlet that I've come up with to help answer this question with moms who ask me, how should I get started? What should I do? What curriculum should I use? You could download this little packet here and get you started. Okay, so what this tutorial is inside of this packet, it explains to you, let me go ahead and share my screen with you for a second here. It shares with you basically, it's not lesson plans. It is not on Monday do this, on Tuesday do that. It's literally a packet full of list, things that you could be doing for the foundations. That's the real work. It's the habit development, because that's very important too. Story time, what to do when you're doing story time, fantasy play ideas, into the wild, ideas of things to do out in nature, creative expression. I didn't mention that, but that is a huge part of early child education. Field trips, exploring community, building friendships, that lovely S word, socialization. When will my kids make friends, right? Okay, so I talk about that. And then I have a whole section for honoring their inner timetable. So when they are developmentally ready, I also give you some activities you can do that are play-based, nature-based, story time-based, movement-based that you could do to help teach the three R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. So really, this ebook is a list, it's a packet full of lists. And see, so you've got your foundations, your habits, the things that they could be doing with you, books that you can read, things like that. So what this tutorial is there's two different ways that you can use this booklet. One, you can use it as a checklist, right? So you could take each of the checklists that I give you in the book, all right? Probably better if I share the screen, but I'm just going to do this for you. You can print these up one by one, put them in sheet protectors, put them in a binder, put them in a folder, and then each day you look and you say, oh, okay, today we're going to play with wooden blocks. The kid plays with wooden blocks, you check it off, right? Okay, so you use it like a checklist. So then by the end of the month, you have probably gone through all of the things on each of the checklists, okay? Another way that you can use this ebook is to use the looping method or the looping schedule. And this is how I used it. This was this was a way where I got myself a index card box holder, okay? And then you get yourself like 10 to 12 different color index cards. They all have to be different colors for each list. You'll understand why in a minute, okay? Index cards. And then some dividers that you could put in your index card file folder, okay? Now, what you're going to do is you're then going to, let's just say, the foundations, that would be the habits. These are habits that you want to teach your toddler, your preschooler, your kindergartner, right? I wrote those on, you can write them on whatever color you want, but I wrote them on white index cards. So, like for instance, I've got attention here and obedience, right? That's another important habit to follow instructions or to do what you're told the first time you're told, right? Orderliness, right? Keeping your room, yourself. Neat and tidy and things like that. Truthfulness, right? Telling the truth, not little half lies, things like that. Okay. So put the habits, you write each one that's on the list that comes in the packet, right? On different index cards. I'm going to explain to you what to do with them in a second. Okay. And then the next list is real work. And so on a different color index card, for me, I just use the light pink. Okay. These, you go to your list where it has at least 20, usually 25 suggestions of things you could do with your kid for real work with purpose, right? So, like for instance, I have here sort recycling, empty a small trash can, help clear the table after meals. I mean, do you guys see what I'm saying? These are real life things that sometimes we don't think to give our kids to do because it's just easier for us to do it, or we don't think that they can handle it. Okay. Um, Trying to put this in here the right way. All right. Then my next section is imagination, play, and ideas. And so again, I took that list from my my book here, right? And I use different color index cards. This time it's a light blue. And these are all suggestions or ideas for your kid to play imaginative things. So, like for instance, pretend you're at the library checking out books or at the bookstore, or a pretend flower shop, or pretend post office where, they're mailing different things and stuff like that. Okay. The next division is the open-ended toys. Now, open-ended toys, by definition, these are the kinds of toys that every single time they play, there's a possibility for a different outcome, right? And so, puzzles and things like that. Okay. Like for instance, I put these on a pale yellow index cards. I took the list that's in the book. I wrote each one on a yellow index card, things like puzzles, wooden blocks. When they play with those, they can create something new each and every time. Small and large vehicles, right? So they could play racetrack and things like that. Another one is wooden beads and strings. There's different things that they can do. So you put all of the ideas for open-ended toys on a different index card, different color. Okay. And then, nope, sorry, hold on. Let me put that in the right spot. And then the next section is outdoor activities and movements. Again, I put those from the list that's in the ebook on a pale green. I was thinking outdoors, right? We've got activities like balancing activities. So putting things out there for them to balance on, creating an obstacle course in your backyard, going on a family walk. I mean, when I say these things are simple, they're simple, but what they do is they help you see all of the things you're already doing during your day and during your week that are actually powerful educational experiences. Okay. Then the next one is backyard and nature activities. And so I put those on a pale orange. For instance, like observing an ant farm that you might have, or gardening, or planting seeds, or weeding, or tending the garden, observing bugs today, right? Again, do you see these are like typical things that kids like to do? It's just reminding you today we're going to be more intentional and do something like this. The next division is art and handicrafts, right? These are really good for developing hand-eye coordination and fine motor skills. So I put these on a darker blue. Things like making a nature item sculpture outside, or making a Play-Doh sculpture, or doing some rock painting, right? Okay. Then the next division is sensory bins and hands-on play. So I put these from the list that's in the packet on very hot pink index cards. Things like these are sensory bins and tactile play kinds of stuff. So here's one: soapy water and a bubble bin, right? Or a mud and dirt bin where you hide different things in it and they try and go find them. A water sensory bin where they've got sieves and all kinds of turkey basters and things like that, right? Okay. The next one is music expression. That's the next division. So I went to my list that's in my ebook and I wrote down all of the suggestions there on a bright yellow index cards. So for instance, today we're going to do some echo singing, or today we're going to go on a sound hunt outside, or today we're going to play musical statues, right? Or today we're going to do a freeze dance, right? Okay, so there's a few more. The next one is F for field trips. And this one has two different categories. You've got your community outings, things that you just kind of normally do, your errands and things like that. And then another section for actual field trips to like museums and zoos and arboretums. And the reason why those are separate is because you're not going to put those in the rotation because you may not be able to go to the zoo on a particular day. Okay. But you can definitely do some of these community outings on a weekly basis or a day or daily basis, depending. Okay. So I wrote down the list of some community outings that we're going to classify as field trips. For instance, bakery. Let's go to the bakery today and see what they have. Let's go to the local farmers market today or this week. Okay. Let's go to the post office today and mail out some packages and get some stamps and things like that. Okay. And then the last one is socialization opportunities. So this is opportunities for your youngster to build friendships, right? And so I put these, the list that's in the ebook, right, on different color index cards. These are bright yellow. And for instance, maybe going to the library or bookstore with a friend, or doing something with your co-op or a homeschool group, or going on a nature hike with some of your friends, or just going to a park meetup, right? So I have over 25 different things that you could use for socialization opportunities. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that all sounds great, but what about the reading, writing, and arithmetic? Remember, you want it to be self-timed, they're honoring their inner timetable, or delayed academics, right? So I do have those particular activities, reading, writing, and arithmetic. You will find lists inside as well, but you're not going to include those in your looping basket, your activities on a daily basis until you start to see that they're ready for it. And then when they are ready for it, then you can include those. Okay. So like I have a whole list of reading activities that you can do, like play I Spy beginning sound today, or today we're going to play a rhyming game with word families, right? Or today we're going to go on we're going to play Go Fish or memory with sight word index cards, okay? And then there's one for handwriting. So couple of things. Practice writing letters and numbers and flour, sugar, or cornmeal. Or what's another one? Write with chalk outside on the chalkboard or on a chalkboard. Do some air writing today. So these are just activities to give you more intentionality when you want to have a 10, 15, no more than 20-minute formal lesson in reading, writing, or math. And then I also have a whole bunch for math as well. Things like we're going to cook or bake today so we can practice our counting and our measuring and our fractions. We're going to go shopping today. We're going to come to the grocery store with me, or we're going to go buy a new pair of shoes and we're going to talk about money and things like that. Or we're going to spend the day sorting things into groups, right? Maybe it's the laundry, maybe it's their math manipulatives, right? Or today we're going to build with blocks. All of these things are math related. But you're not going to actually put these into your big index box holder until they're actually ready for it. Now, you're probably asking, what do I do with these things now? Okay, so now we have them all categorized. They're all different colors, right? Your index card, and we're going to use the looping schedule. So instead of saying on Mondays, we're going to do field trips. On Tuesdays, we're going to do outdoor activities. On Wednesday, we're going to do art activities. You can do that if that's how your brain works. But ideally, you want them to be doing all these different activities randomly throughout every single day because that is what makes for a good, solid, fun early childhood education. And let's be honest, you've already been doing these things. Okay. So, what you're going to do is you're going to try and loop through these things each and every day and each and every week. But you don't want to have to think about it. You don't have time to think about it. Okay. So, what you're going to do each morning, I've got my box here or the night before. First of all, I'm going to take out the very first, doesn't matter, I could just randomly pick, but I'm taking out my index card for habits. And this one says truthfulness. Now, I'm not going to rotate this every day. I'm going to work on a habit for at least a month or 6 weeks. Okay. So this is the habit that we're going to be working on today, this week, this month. All right. Truthfulness. Then I'm going to go to my next section, which is real work. I'm just going to pick the first index card that is in the front, and it says help clear tables after meals. So I'm going to put that in my pile. I'm going to go to my next division, which is imaginative play ideas. I'm going to pick just the first card. I'm not even looking. We're going to pretend today, we're going to put together a post office in our home and we're going to pretend to be mail carriers and things like that. And I'm going to go to my next section, which is open-ended toys. Again, I'm not looking, I'm picking first one, wooden beads and strings. So I'm going to go get my bin that has wooden beads and strings. There we go. Then I'm going to go to my outdoor activities. That's first thing in the pile, right? We're going to go on a family walk today. Then I'm going to go to my backyard nature activities. First thing, usually I'm not looking, right? Okay. We're going to observe bugs today. And then I'm going to go to my art and handicraft, the very first thing that's in that section. It's stuck, I'm not looking. Sorry, it's stuck on my fingers. Okay, leaf and bark rubbing. Okay, and then I'm going to go to sensory bin, so something hands-on to do today. Water sensory bin. I'm going to go to my music expression section and freeze dance. That's what we're going to do today. Then I'm going to go to my field trip or my community outings, right? And the very first one, I'm not looking. It's just my fingers are stuck here. Okay. Grocery store, good thing because I have to go to the grocery. And then the last one is socialization activities. That one I already said. So, oh, okay. One-on-one play date. All right. So I'm going to take all of these different things. I'm going to put them in a pile. This is what I'm going to be intentional about today. All right. So I can either put them in a paper clip, I put a rubber band around it, whatever. So today with my toddler, my preschooler, my TK, my kindergartner, we're going to look for opportunities to be truthfulness, right? And we're going to teach that when needed. I'm going to make sure that after we eat breakfast or lunch or dinner, or maybe all of it, my preschooler helps me clean the table, right? After we're finished eating. For imaginative play, we're going to put together a fun little post office in our home, and we're going to play that today with our siblings and our stuffed animals. We're going to do some handiwork with wooden beads and strings, and so that's going to help build our hand muscles for handwriting and fine motor skills. We're going to go on a family walk, probably after dinner today because it's pretty hot. We're going to observe some bugs. We might do that just outside, or maybe when we're walking on our family walk, we're going to make sure we look for bugs. I'm going to go look for my magnifying glass and things like that. Um, we're going to do some leaf and bark rubbings whenever we're outside playing. I'm going to bring out some paper and some crayons, and we're going to do that for fun. And then I'm going to call his best friend and say, "Hey, can Ezra come over today? Let's have a play date." Right? That's the socialization. And then the family outing, or not the family outing, but the community outing is to actually go to the grocery. So today, hopefully, if you need something, if you don't need something and going to the grocery is not something you need to do, well, then you just put it back. You put it in the back of the orange section there, and you just pick the next thing that's first. And in this case, it is the police station. That might be kind of fun to do. Okay. And then our outdoor activity or our movement, we're going to play a fun freeze dance. We're going to do water sensory bin outdoors. Um, Oops, I picked two pink ones. Let me put that back. See, my fingers, they were stuck. All right. So these are our lessons for the day. These are my lesson plans. They're just on index cards. And it's just giving me ideas of things that I could do. And like I said, if something comes up and I'm like, I don't want to go to the police station today, or maybe I got a ticket the other day and I need to go pay that off, right? If it doesn't apply or it's not something you could fit into your day, you just put it back into your index card file holder in the back. Right? So this becomes your lesson plan. This becomes your checklist for the day, right? And so it just gives you more intentionality. Now, let's say that your kid is showing signs of reading readiness, handwriting readiness, and of course, math. Okay. So I'm going to go over to my box that has the academic stuff in it. Okay. And I'm going to, again, I'm just picking the very first thing that's in the front here. See, right here. I'm just picking the very first thing. And it says today we're going to play sight word, go fish, or memory. So if your student or your child has already started to play around with sight words and you've got those flashcards, you've got that game, today we're going to make an effort to play go fish or memory with those sight words. Okay. Then I'm going to go to my box over here. This is the handwriting. First thing, I'm just picking the first thing here. We're going to do some air writing today. So we're going to practice writing our alphabet letters and our name with air writing. So I'm going to put that in my pile. And then I'm going to go to the math part, right? And again, I'm just picking the very first thing and it says build with blocks today because that builds spatial problem solving and geometry. All right. So now, if my kid is academically ready for the 3 Rs, I've got all these other wonderful things that we can be doing for early childhood education, plus 3 other academic lessons that we can do. All right. So we go through this during the day. At the end of the day, I take my index cards and I put them back into my box, right? So not the habits, but because we're going to work on that for a whole month. I've got my light pink, which is real work, right? And I'm going to put it back in my box in that section, right? But now I'm going to put it in the back of the pink section because we've already done that this month. So now there's something completely new in the front here. All right. So then I'm going to take my imaginative play. I'm going to put it back in that section, but now in the back so that something new is in the front of imaginative play. Then I'm going to take my open-ended yellow card. I'm going to put that back in toys. I'm going to put that in the back of those cards. That way, a brand new idea is in the front. So I think you get the idea. I put all of these back into my box in their appropriate section, but behind each one so that there's a new idea, there's a new item, there's a new activity to do in the front. The beauty of this is that you don't have to think at all. You don't have to plan at all. It's literally awesome activities to do at random at your fingertips every single day. Okay. Now, let's just say there's something that your student or your teen, your toddler really likes to do. Well, you just kind of keep that card in there if you want for a while until they get tired of it. Okay. Or let's just say that when you are writing up your index cards for your backyard activities, right? And maybe a few of the things that I have on the list you can't do in your backyard, right? So you don't write those on an index card, you don't include them. I also have space at the end of each list. To add your own. So, for instance, there might be something, maybe you can't climb in your backyard because there's no trees, but maybe you have a pool, right? So maybe you add some sort of pool or water activity like swimming that you can do instead, right? So you can personalize your index cards and only write and include the things that each actually work for your family. Okay, so this is the looping schedule, lesson planning, if that's what you want to call it, early childhood education using my little booklet called You're Already Homeschooling. All right. So if you're interested in getting the list, because like I said, I have all of these lists, all the things that are in this index card holder here in that packet. You could go to coffeewithcarrie.org, go to my storefront. You can purchase it there. It's an ebook. If you see me at a convention, I have these already printed and bound that you could buy from me right then and there. If you're purchasing it from me or ordering it from me online, you're going to get the ebook version. And then that way you can either print up the list if you want to do the checklist version, right, where you put them in sheet protectors, or you could just keep the list on your screen as you're creating your index cards here, right? And you can personalize it. You can print the whole thing if you want and get it bound using our partner, Humble Heart Press. Okay. Now, remember, mamas, you've already started homeschooling if you have a toddler, a preschooler, a TK, a kindergartner, first or second grader. You're already doing a great job. All this is doing is helping you be more intentional once they are academically ready for the three R's, and it's helping you keep their early childhood education as rich and as wonderful and awe-filled as you've already been doing. Thanks for hanging out.